Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by invocation by Reverend David Troxler, First Christian Church. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. As elected officials of the City Government of Port Orange, we come together tonight to carry out the duties of our offices. As we do so, we're grateful for the opportunity to serve the people of Port Orange and ask that all of our discussions and decisions be guided by the power of your presence for the common good of us all. But also this night, we come with heavy hearts because of the destructive actions of one individual that destroyed 58 human lives and wounded over 500 others. May your spirit be with us all, as all who suffer in pain, and help us once again bring healing with our actions of love, not hate. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. Call the roll.
Councilman Tremont.
Here.
Councilman Bastian.
Here.
Councilman Siltman.
Here.
Vice Mayor Ford.
Here.
Mayor Burnett.
Here.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion, if I could, on one of the agenda items here, or actually two of them. Can we make a motion to move items 16 and 17 up to the front and get those knocked out?
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 16, report from Kemper Sports on Cypress Head Golf. You're set.
Good evening, Mr. Members of the City Council, Mr. Mayor, City Manager. Bob Duquette, Cypress Head General Manager. And we'll go through a little bit of the report here. Our revenues for the month of August, this is for the month of August 2017, finished at $67,108 versus a budget amount of $80,475. Our range was $1,853 to our budgeted amount of $2,666. And our pro shop and merchandise were $1,182 over our projected budget amounts. Our payroll for the month, lower than projected, budgeted amount for a savings of $10,000. This was as a result of controlling our labor costs during our closed days during the month of August, as also receiving a reimbursement for some labor from Hurricane Matthew. Our operating expenses finished at $44,574 versus a budgeted amount of $38,497. And this was mostly due to cost of fertilizer, insecticides, and mostly repair costs on some of the machinery that was responsible for the overage. Month of August is our 11th month in the fiscal year, with the revenues being ahead of budget by $37,040. And we're continuing to offer customer service and excellent course conditions. Our payroll year to date is under our projected budget by $19,130, and our expenses are over budget by $19,797. So we continue to monitor our labor costs to help offset any increases that we've had in operational expenses. As you all know, we've had a season of rains. It rained through August, and of course we had Hurricane Irma in September. So in August, we had 10 days that we were cart path only restricted. If you've ever played golf, you understand that we do lose a lot of rounds due to the fact that golfers do not like to stay on a cart path.
Just additional exercise.
It is. It's what the game is supposed to be, but unfortunately, they don't seem to like it. So we did lose some rounds because of that, plus the fact that we had so much rain in the month of August as well. One of the other factors is we did do an airification, our last airification of the greens, tee boxes, and that also considers or affects the lower rounds because of the fact that they don't like to be putting on surfaces that are not quite perfect. Big doings in the month of August. On the 7th, our independent contractor with a food and beverage services abruptly left in the middle of the night, closed their doors. So we were without any food or beverage capabilities until August 31st. Then we were able to reinstate the licenses for operations, and we reopened for the new tavern on September 1st. Don Burke, who has been helping us out and gotten things started, is here. He'll be available for questions a little bit later after we finish. On tee sheets, there were 2,652 total rounds for the month, broken down to 1975 paid rounds, 496 annual and Cypress Pass rounds, and 181 other rounds. As far as the mentioned the airification, in this case, which is the last one of the season. And again, this does involve top dressing of all of our putting surfaces, which does reduce our total number of rounds. Golf shop did well. We did $5,952 in sales, as well as $346 in gift cards. We are also voted by the News Journal previous month for the best golf course, and we are also informed by the Hometown News that we also received best golf course in Volusia County, as well as best golf course or best golf shop in Volusia County as well. August, we did host the Port Orange South Daytona Chamber, which is a great event, and we also hosted the Spruce Creek High Ladies Volleyball Team, which was really good to see them partaking using the facilities over at Cypress Head. We sent out 300 questionnaires to players. Our golf course received 8.3. Most of that was due because of some of the conditioning of the course. And we also received the recommended rating for 8.4, and our service rating stays high at 9.4. Cypress Head, we're excited. We're doing several fundraising tournaments, and Reggie Hunter, who's our sales and marketing, has booked pretty much a tournament event all the way through October and all of November. So we've got a very full schedule, taking advantage of the local communities, charities, and all other events. We just recently had the All About Kaylee, which raised a lot of money for a young girl who's suffering from leukemia. We're also continuing our junior clinics as well as other clinics that are offered through the Kemper Sports Management. And more importantly, our new tavern restaurant is operational for the whole month. And I'm glad to say that the numbers are not final yet, but we definitely stay within our budgets to what was presented. And Don Burke, who has joined Kemper Sports to help us out here, essentially he's going to be with us until a new direction is either given by the council, and we'll go from that point. So I'd like to introduce Don Burke.
Hello, everyone. Don Burke, Food and Beverage, Cypress Head.
Good evening.
Good evening. It's going great so far. It was a new animal for me to take over, coming from the restaurant industry. I think we won a lot of the golfers back. Like I said last time I spoke, my first focus was going to be the golfers, and we've won a lot of them back. They're having lunch every day. Dining room's getting busier every day. We're booking a lot of, like Bob said, private affairs and functions. Pretty much sitting with 2 or 3 people a day in regards to that. So that's going to be great revenue in the future. The hours of operation that we're working right now, we're doing breakfast and lunch all day, Saturday and Sundays, and lunch every day of the week, pretty much till 4 or 5 o'clock. We got a nice new sign that we got, so it shows our hours of operation, so it's not confusing the golfers. They can see, that we're open 7 o'clock on certain days, and because that was one of the biggest things. They were like, well, when are you open? When are you not open? So that's really helping them out. So, I'm excited to be here. So
Questions for Mr. Burke?
No questions. Well done. I'm
thank
excited.
you. I'd love any of you to come over and visit us, please, unannounced.
So during the week, what, 11 to 4-ish?
11 to 4, 5.
Okay.
But we're open till 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good burgers, by the way.
Oh, good.
Good
We're
burgers.
getting great reviews on the food and the service. So that's what it's all about for us.
Are you doing like a lot of takeout?
Yeah, we got them now.
No, I mean you're going and getting it, and bringing it in, or is that what you're doing? I'm just kidding.
One in every crowd. Yeah. I think a lot of the things that we listen to, I'm going to look this way now. A lot of the people that we listened to had concerns about the pricing before, and they chased a lot of them away. So it really wasn't, it was kind of easy to be a hero, to come in and lower the prices where they should be, I believe.
Yeah.
Like a pitcher of beer, it was $11.50, $11.75, down to $7.50. So a lot of times, what I heard from the golfers, they were going from playing with us and then going to other local golf communities and eating and spending their money. So, so we're getting that back.
That's almost a 2 for the price of 1 sale.
Yep.
Do you have any big venues on the horizon?
Yes, we do. I've a lot of small ones more, but I've already got a couple of Halloween parties, holiday parties for the HOA. I really wanted the next phase is for us to get outside Cypress Head walls and let people know that we're there. That's one of my, And eventually, we talked about very soon doing dinners Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evening. Okay, so
Perfect.
that's the model.
Jake, I saw in the manager's report, we're still working on putting the RFP together.
We are. So,
What's our timeline?
the timeline is done by December. So keep a few things in mind when Mr. Burke's talking here. Right now, the restaurant is running rent free, right? We're paying our own rent. So,
Yeah.
So that was something that the original folks there didn't do. They paid rent. The other thing that you have to consider here is that in December we're going to have to make a decision whether to go back to the model we just came from, or the model that's currently working. And when I say working, it's starting to generate a little bit of revenue. So when we mold this RFP, we're going to have a discussion here pretty quick about how we want that to go. I don't want to let out an RFP to charge rent and get somebody on board only to find out that you like the current model that's working and you want to run it. The last word I got from council is this is temporary, right? Because this isn't going to work the way it's working. It's working right now, but I don't want to expend a lot of effort only to find out December that that's not the way you wanted to go. So we have to have that conversation.
I think that was the last direction we gave, and certainly I want to keep an open mind, but I like the idea of entrepreneurship at work and the things that it can bring us.
Well,
I know you can appreciate that, Don.
Entrepreneurship takes on many different ways, and I think if you look at the neighboring cities and what they're doing in their golf course to get folks to come in and be successful, it wasn't our last model. So keep that in mind.
Very good. Any questions for Mr. Duquette?
Thank you. So I see you on a tree hanging,
Yeah, we saw your picture
cutting
there.
down some limbs there.
I got a call on that Saturday morning before the hurricane actually was hitting, and there was a branch that had kind of broken off and had a hanger, and their homeowner was kind of concerned about the possibility of going through their lanai. So we, myself and a couple of staff members, got the ladder and the extension pole and got it down for them. Surprising thing is that branch during the hurricane never broke, but the other three branches around it did. But nothing went to their lanai.
But good for you. Good. Thank you for doing that.
Every hurricane has its own personality.
It's amazing how it does. And we are pretty well cleaned up as far as all the debris at this point.
Very good.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, gentlemen. Thanks. Ordinance number 2017-29 is an ordinance of the City of Port Orange, Volusia County, Florida, approving the Second Amendment to the Groves Planned Commercial Development Master Development Agreement for approximately plus or minus 12.1 acres, generally located in the Clyde Morris Boulevard and south of Madeline Avenue, providing for conflicting ordinances, severability, and an effective date.
Motion approved on second reading, ordinance number 2017-29.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Council, discussion? Anybody else like to speak to this? There being none, call the roll.
Councilman Tremont.
Yes.
Councilman Bastian.
Yes.
Councilman Stillman.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Ford.
Yes.
Mayor Burnett.
Yes, 5-0. This brings back to item 4, public comments on consent agenda items only.
Ted Knopfel, Chickadee Drive, Mayor and Council, and I'm standing here again tonight to complain about the current arrangement on consent agenda. It has been tradition in these chambers that if a citizen stands where I'm standing now and asks to have an item pulled, it was done. That's not the case anymore. You have to speak to them all at once under the new regime. It closes down transparency and it closes down citizen participation, is what it does. Make matters worse, last week, after the opportunity to speak, 3 items were pulled from the agenda. You all voted on them separately. Citizens weren't allowed to comment. It was said back, you had the opportunity to speak in the beginning, but they were pulled. Now, those 3 items were the collective bargaining agreements. You think maybe, just maybe, the people in the audience and at home might be curious as to what wage increase the city granted last year? Was it 3%? Was it 13%? It didn't come out. It didn't come out in conversation. Now, the real thing that frosts my behind on this is that I've been told that the reason we're doing it this way is because you all have butthurt. Feelings are frayed up on the dais. You're too sensitive. You don't want citizens talking about stuff. You don't ever want to have what happened here before, Mayor, which is citizens get up and ask to have something pulled, and what you were going to pass on consent now goes into the biggest kind of a discussion, and indeed, we've seen items pulled at that point, just dropped, tabled, because a citizen, a lowly citizen, stood right here and asked a question or two. But boy, those days of questioning are over, which is why I said transparency and citizen participation is limited. And you all are on board with it. You guys must have signed a pact in blood, because there's no dissent on council anymore. You're in agreement with all of it. Mayor, that's all really I have, but I would like to ask, I would like to inquire if you have any comments or questions or snide remarks, because I'd like to have an opportunity to respond to them. If there are none, I'll sit down. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, question. On a couple of the items that are on the budget, on the consent agenda, if they go through on consent, that means the time will go to the traditional time of stopping music. See what I'm saying? In the write-up, there's a discussion of what time the music should shut down with a recommendation. But it'll be staff's recommendation.
They were written to the staff recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to clarify.
Anybody else like to speak? Item 5, agenda approval.
Move to approve the remaining agenda.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
I think you have a hand.
I'm sorry,
raised
come on up. Ben, you speaking of something that's on the consent agenda?
I don't know if it's on consent, but I doubt it's on consent. I've been only doing this for 15 years.
That's what we're doing right now. I got you for public participation.
Yeah,
I'll call you in a second.
okay.
Well, that might be more in a second. Consent agenda items, we have a motion for approval for 6 through
No,
15.
we did the agenda approval.
Oh,
Yeah. Motion
6 through
approved.
12.
Motion approved the remaining items 6 through 12.
Second.
Yep, gotcha. 6 through 12, we have a motion, a second, call the roll.
Councilman Tremont.
Yes.
Councilman Bastian.
Yes.
Councilman Stillman.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Ford.
Yes.
Mayor Burnett.
Yes, 5-0. Brings us to item 13, Volusia Flagler Sierra Club, Christine Cunningham.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Evening.
Do I have to give you information?
Tell us who you are.
Okay, I'm Christine Cunningham, and I'm with the Sierra Club, and I'm here to speak to you regarding what is a national campaign of the Ready for 100, and that is a national campaign to transition cities to 100% renewable energy. And does any of the information I sent go up on the screen, or no? Okay. They have it in theirs. Okay, so I had
It was sent
sent
to
you
us.
previously, thank you, the energy endorsement that the mayor signed and the criteria for the community commitment for 100% renewable energy. The article that I sent you is a meeting that took place down in May this year of the Conference for Mayors, and they had voted with a resolution, and 110 mayors have supported this, and 164 cities have signed on for this commitment. Our community goal that we ask is that it's realistic and time-bound. When we talk about a Ready for 100 city, what we're doing is talking about electricity, heat and cooling, and transportation. The electricity is the transition by 2035, and the heat and cooling and transportation are 2050. Some of the cities in the country have a much more aggressive goals and have already started as soon as 2020. The primary drivers of our campaign are reducing the amount of energy that we create to power our economy. But within that, we also want to maintain the quality of our lives. And we don't want to make people feel that they can't participate in this program in the community. After Hurricane Irma, which is still on our minds, FP&L and Duke are finally acknowledging that our grid and our infrastructure is old and outdated. Duke has become very progressive in their portfolio for renewable energy. And we're hoping that FP&L follows, of course, and we'd like to help them follow with that. We can no longer rely on our centralized electricity generation, and we must diversify throughout the whole state. Going to energy efficiency, going to renewable energy includes going to energy efficiency, which is number one, weatherization, smart grids, building controls, and in our case, solar. Our community should encourage electricity savings campaigns as well, and we should also transition our government buildings to solar to be successful examples. Port Orange, as you know, has roughly 56,000 people, and half of those are roughly over 60. Energy efficiency is disproportionate, energy bills are disproportionate for their income, and transitioning and lowering their bills would help half our residents have more control over their income. We also have found that the renewable energy brings local jobs, launches new businesses, and brings quality careers. We have a 4% unemployment rate in Port Orange, which is pretty steady within the whole state on any given month, but we'd like to see higher quality wages. What we're asking is for the council to support the mayor to sign on to our Ready for 100 campaign. If we get everybody involved and we're inclusive and transparent, we need to get our public institutions, large and small businesses, community organizations, and our citizens involved in changing our town. What we'd like, conversation that we've been having with our cities are in Volusia County and in Flagler, and so far we've got 6 mayors committed within both of those counties. And we would like for you to show local leadership and help the mayor sign on to as a commitment. Do you have any questions?
Gentlemen? How is it paid for?
You told me they were going to ask that question.
I did. I mean, solar stuff is extremely costly.
Well, it has lowered 80%. Right now, on a given house, where it used to be 20 plus years, now it's down to 4, where it starts paying for itself. So we're no longer in a time frame that's not where you don't gain and start not paying for your electric bills anymore. It's only a 4-year and getting better. So taking the city government buildings and transitioning that lowers our bills, which in itself obviously will pay for itself. And for the people, there are many programs that are coming into Volusia County as the solar co-ops are coming in, and people are starting more small businesses, which are giving the people the opportunity for choice, and more businesses, of course, will drive the cost down as well.
Where's the blueprint? These are some pretty ambitious goals. I like them. Where's the blueprint? Where's the roadmap? How do we get there? Where's that at?
Well, once you become part of the campaign, and the number one city is St. Pete, they are driving the change. they are setting the standards and going through, they started from the very bottom. And so and it is a transition. There is no one set of rules. Each town can decide if they want to create their own. There are 8 businesses that create models, or you can you can follow the St. Pete model, which now includes Sarasota, Ocala, Orlando. We know Orlando is the biggest city to join in Florida and South Miami. So the blueprints are a variable of putting the best that you can do within your own city and growing from there, and that's where you get engineers involved, and you build it yourself, or you transition with another city. You could use cities working together. We had already got the 6 mayors in Volusia and Flagler County. Orange City just signed on Tuesday, and so building this coalition of cities, we can all work together for the Volusia County and Flagler area.
Any other questions, gentlemen? I was just going to say that when I met, there's no way in the world that I'm committing us to something like this. This is a council manager form of government, and even though it's a mayor's initiative, this is huge. And what I would ask is that each of us go back and take a look at the materials. And if this is something that we want to commit to, please say so. There's no way I'm signing on to this unless all of us are committed. And there are a lot of moving parts, because we know that we don't have our own utilities. But could we possibly run some of our water plant off of solar? I'd love to have a big solar field right out here to run City Hall and some of the facilities here. But Drew, and I predicted it, and I told you they would ask.
I know.
How you pay for it? That's the $64 question.
Yeah.
And we're already pretty progressive in solar. We are well fields, we have solar out there, we have solar in a number of places. So we've been, as soon as it becomes, as Drew noted, cost ready, we have been moving to it. So I think we're already committed to moving to renewable energy whenever we can, as long as it's cost reasonable.
Absolutely. I think one of the misconceptions is that we always focus on solar or wind, whatever it is. But the number one way to be successful is energy efficiency. And that's something that does not necessarily take a whole lot of money. It's teaching the kids. It's going and having, like at Family Days, having a booth on how to do it. It's all those types of promotional programs that will get our houses, no matter where they are, into, the goal was lowering how much energy do we use.
If you can teach my son to turn the light off when he leaves his room.
Absolutely. I mean, we can go through, each one, but when you travel, and I'm sure everybody here travels a lot, you go to the airports and you go to other cities, especially the progressive cities in California, you see so many little behaviors that they use, and it all spells out success. And so that's why having and promoting energy efficiency is the first step towards our city becoming recognized as moving forward with 100% renewable energy.
Have you been to the schools, the school board?
I haven't been to the school board yet. The campaign is for the mayors. That's the very first step, because we know that local government is as powerful in getting the people on board. And since this became a national issue with pulling out of the Paris Agreement, the cities have stepped up, and the towns have stepped up, and the states have stepped up. New York and California, and the whole state committed to this. But just talking about Florida, the cities started just a year ago with one being St. Pete, and now you have 27 cities on board. I mean, how much faster with all the, and we are volunteers, the staff does it too for the Sierra Club, but we go out and we speak to the people that we hope will get on board, so that the strength of the Sierra Club and all the other organizations that are pushing towards renewable energy and getting off oil and coal and keeping the money. One of the biggest things people don't realize, that the money goes out of our state. Let's keep our money in our state. Let's keep it in Port Orange. Let's build jobs.
Back to the old thing, global, act local. Jake, did you have anything to add?
I do. As staff can attest, probably not to their benefit, but I'm a stickler when it comes to energy and paper and all of that. So our mentality on the staff from a city perspective is that to try to conserve. We had a pretty aggressive project for lighting in City Center and our other buildings, some of which got done this year. Didn't have it quite in the budget to do the whole thing, but we're working on that. Something that we might want to consider at about a 20% added cost based on what I did in my previous job. LEED certified, which is basically green building certification. LEED certified buildings can be a way to the future too. Like Vice Mayor Ford said, it can't be cost prohibitive. So something we can consider as we build newer buildings, as we build them, if we build them, to make sure they're LEED certified. And that would be a council commitment to spend a little bit more money up front to save a lot of money in the long run ROI. Additionally, as Vice Mayor Ford pointed out, our solar bees and everything out in the well fields, solar for the most part right now. And we're also working with FP&L based on some comments I heard when I first got here about using some of our less usable landscape for solar. When I first got here, that was not cost effective for FP&L because of the energy lobby. As you well know, that's opened up in the past couple months, and now it gives us an opportunity to partner with them and do things of that nature. Lastly, Susan's not here tonight, but Larry Volanek and Parks and Rec are looking at a partnership where they do covered parking. And that covered parking will cover your car from the extreme heat, and it'll be solar panels on top. So those are things we're working on in the short term to move this city forward from an energy awareness and energy efficiency perspective.
And we have a lot of savings are going to come up with our replacing our current air conditioning system. We have some problems with it.
But efficiency is really what we should tackle first to start seeing. You talk about how to spend
Changing
money.
the culture. Yeah.
Changing the culture, but also to save money so that we can spend money.
Mm-hmm.
How we're going to pay for it.
Jake, if this is okay with the rest of council, I'd like you guys to have a chance to look at this, and then the first meeting of next month, we can add this as a discussion item.
Absolutely.
And then if we want to workshop it further from there, we can talk about this initiative. And then if we want to workshop other things that we'd
Do
like
you
to do.
want to see it as soon as the October workshop or no? Is that too early? End of October? Well, do we have one?
Let's do November.
It is October, right?
Yep.
It's fine by me.
Yeah,
Don't look at me
let's
with
push
those
for
eyes.
November so we're not rushed.
Okay.
Let's do it in November workshop.
November it is.
Yeah,
We feel a little cooler.
I definitely want to hear more.
The 27th. We'll do it on Thursday, the 27th.
I know that, I definitely want to hear more, and I appreciate you coming tonight. I would, I know it's the mayor's for 100% clean energy. I still would hope at least at some step you'll talk to the schools. I mean, if there's any entity that uses more energy and, based on my experience, not very efficient,
Yes.
that would be an ideal. And, talk about from the education aspect as well. I would hope that would be on y'all's future agenda, but thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank
you.
Thank you so much.
Sarah had something.
Sarah, did you have a question about this?
I do have a question.
Come on up.
Sarah Jones, 44 Woodfield Drive. In the presentation, there was this, and you alluded to it, some type of presentation that the Sierra Club had prepared, is that people were going to look at, that the council was going to look at prior to the workshop. And I was just looking for it. I don't know whether I got it wrong or whatever, but I couldn't find it in the PDF documents that came down. And so it's simply a request, if there is such a document that the Sierra Club prepared, to sort of explain what they wanted, that it be made available?
It's in the agenda.
It's in the agenda packet.
It's online on the city website, Sarah.
I was sitting here flipping through the agenda packet.
Page 65.
Page 65, okay, that's all I want to know.
Thank you. All right, Mr. De La Rosa, you're up.
Comment on this too. I just recently put in solar. It's extremely expensive. I didn't review the package on the 80% decrease in the recent years, but I got my permits and everything. So I do business down here at City Hall. So that's a good segue for me that I get my outs and abouts in Port Orange. I'm going to show some videos tonight, and it's going to be
Mayor,
extremely hard.
Excuse me one second, Mayor. Were you going to, just procedurally, were you going to do citizen non-agenda last?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
I didn't have a motion otherwise.
I'm sorry.
If, Ben, it's going to be a little while unless council wants to move that forward.
Let's move it forward for Ben.
For Ben?
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Couple
Not a
minutes,
Don't
Wendell.
mind.
Not a problem.
So I have a motion to move, Bob, you putting that in the form of a motion?
I'm so moved.
Citizen participation, non-agenda to current.
Yeah.
And do I have a second? Drew?
Yes. Yes, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
I just wanted to finish my comment I had on the
Yeah, go
solar,
ahead.
on the solar issue. I believe in it. I think the efficiency way is what you need to lean towards. The cost, the old saying, figures lie and liars figure. Those numbers are extremely high. Having some connections in the town, I was able to buy them at cost, and you're in the $15,000 range. And my numbers in running them, it'll take me like 12.5 years for them to pay for themselves to get. So you have a huge, now don't forget you're going to have wear
That's
and
a
tear,
cost.
maintenance and braking, and so you have lifetime expectancy, so it's a big investment. Just
You are correct. I calculated it for my house, 15-year payback,
Right.
which at that point, it's really not worth it.
It's not, and if it was a 4-year payback, I would have my
Absolutely.
backyard would be
I'll
loaded
be there.
up. Exactly.
Citizen participation, non-agenda. Mr. Toluto. Big Ben.
Well, I haven't been here in a long time. That's all I can say.
You were here for a long
There's a
time.
lot of storing up here. For those who don't know, my name is Ben Toledo. I moved in this town in 1959, and I've been in the same house since 1959, along Halifax Drive by Aunt Catfish. And what started all this was a few years ago, we had a hurricane that wiped out South Florida. And at the time, I was in claims for a national insurance company, and I had to go down there to settle a lot of claims. And when I came up here, we had the same basic problem that on Meeker Place, and y'all know where Meeker Place is? Do you know where it's at? You know where it's at? You know where it's at? Do you know where Meeker Place is? You know, right?
I do.
Okay, we're on common grounds. Meeker Place has a culvert that comes out from the river, and it heads west down Meeker Place. And lo and behold, that culvert lid somehow in old age disappeared. So when we have a northeaster like we got today, guess what? Water comes up, and it doesn't come over the seawall causing the problem. It comes in that glorified culvert that don't have a flapper valve on it. So then it comes in the backyard of all the people along Halifax there, and guess where it goes? In your garage, in your house. So I had a similar situation just recently. I was scared to death of this hurricane. So being old and a little senile, I got my car and took off for St. Louis. Well, that was a good part. But when I came back and I saw what I left, that wasn't a good part. I had water in my house. I had my wife's car totaled underwater. Had the whole back fence, 130 feet of fence, down because of water. I had to see my dock, which is not incidental in this case, but it was floating by Aunt Catfish, my boat dock. I had the power pole in front of the house caught fire. which knocked out most of the power along Halifax Drive. So my point, I guess I'm getting at, with all this damage, it didn't come from the river. It came from the backyard, from that culvert that don't have a flapper valve to stop the water from coming in and then flooding out the whole back of your house. Now, this is not the first time this has happened. I was a councilman up here many years ago, and it happened back then. And at that time, was Frank Zoldis was mayor, and we all talked about it, and we hashed it out, and guess what? Nothing got done. So now it's happening again, and last time I talked to Ken Parker, he was city manager. I said, Ken, I'll even pay for that damn culvert, that lid. I said, it'll
Hey,
cost
Ben.
$1,000.
You're out of time. You want to put it in writing or come
No,
back
I
next
think
week?
I made my point.
I appreciate it.
I'll pay for the culvert lid if it can be done.
That's a heck of an offer.
So Mayor, that project that we briefed last week, $1.7 million for 14 backflow preventers, it's on our priority list, not for this year or next year, but the third year at the $15 additional rate. It'll make it in
Understood.
the third year.
Okay. Citizen participation, Ted Noftel.
Ed Knopfel, Chickadee Drive, Mayor. I was distressed at what happened here at council last meeting. You know, respect is something that's earned up there on the dais. Can't be commanded with a gavel. Can't be commanded with recesses. It has to be earned. It has to be earned. It's something you get, the people give you back. And what happened here last week was wrong. You all need to make a pledge here tonight that if you want to make a comment to what citizens have to say right here, please allow them to respond. It's not fair the minute someone is headed back to their seat to have people start chirping. And that's what happened last week. Now, I don't know what the purpose of the recess was. We're just going to shout down, in this case, Gardner, and then declare a recess and just come back in here tonight and say nothing. No apologies to the people, no change in procedure, with one exception. We got 3 armed policemen in this room here tonight, and I would like to know why. There's no place for that in a public meeting in Port Orange. Have the citizens of Port Orange really earned that distinction, that we need to have 3 armed policemen? What's the purpose? Do you want to intimidate people standing right here? Is that the purpose? Are they here to serve and protect? Or are they here to enforce your edicts, Mayor Burnett? You think that's possible? Is that what's going on here? And if so, what is their trigger? Have they been given their trigger in advance? Is it 4 seconds over on the 3 minutes? Is that when the police will take action? Is it 2 bangs at a gavel? What is their purpose here? Manager, Mayor, what is the purpose of the armed police here today? That's a legitimate question. But I guess no answer, and hopefully no comment as I head back to my seat, unless you want to make one now, and I'll gladly try and answer it. Thank you.
Thank you. Wendell, now it's your turn. Appreciate you accommodating.
Thank you.
Well, my name's Wendell De La Rosa. That actually, Mr. Ted brought up something for me too. I don't understand. I've been to council meetings before. I've lived here for 5 decades. I've been a resident of this town. I can't recall looking on POG TV or attending a chamber meeting and ever seeing a uniformed police officer besides the department head, the chief of police, and typically he's in his suit and tie. And it's expected as a department head to be here. So I just went on the assumption, hey, they're here for little old me. So that might answer your question, sir. I don't know. So, and I have many good segues to lead into this, from the solar to the police. So that's what I'm here for. Been here for 5 decades. I'm not a threat. I don't like to be discriminated against for my appearance, my race, my age, my sexual preference, my religion, my political beliefs, or even for what color shirt I wear or the flip-flops I wear. You cannot pick and choose who you want to go in and out of your public buildings. And in the recent week, I had a valid concern. It's been several weeks, and Robin said this folder's minimized. It's drew some concern for me. This popped up in my neighborhood, and I didn't know what it was, and it drew some attention to me in August. And it's called the POPD Video Cop. So, me with having a background working in the national intelligence community for over 3 decades and being a retired law enforcement officer in Florida with 2 decades service, it kind of set the hairs on my neck up a little bit. Like, is somebody watching little old me? I don't know. It's on private property, so I kind of queried it. I did due diligence. I checked with the HOA. They didn't know nothing about it. I went to the HOA meeting. They did nothing about it. They knew nothing about it, excuse me. They went to the IT guy. The IT guy knew nothing about it. The HOA meeting, it was brought up. Again, nobody knew nothing about this device. So the HOA manager went out there and checked it, the president of it, and he came down to the Port Orange Police Department and ran into a uniformed officer who did the shoulder salute of, I don't know. So the president, in turn, asked the city engineer to meet with him and got zero response. Got a response, but that's weird. I don't know. So I inquired. First I was asked. I inquired, actually, and I got no answer. I got no response. It kind of fell on deaf ears. And then I was asked if I wanted to sit in the meeting, this meeting tonight, and I made it clear to the clerk and to every one of you I've talked to personally on the phone. I've talked to you via email correspondence, and I said I do not wish to appear here tonight. I have zero desires to, I have better things to do with my life. I do not want to debate and get into some sort of contest with the city. So, but I want the simple question about this device that me and a few of the residents in my neighborhood had a concern with, and I think it's a valid concern to say, why is this device out there? I don't know. It's not my job any longer to figure out this kind of thing. I thought I put it in the right hands. Evidently I didn't. So when I asked about it and I got bad answers, I called the city manager, at which time I got I explained it to his secretary, Cindy, for about 5 minutes. And then the city manager got on and was very rude, belittled me, berated me, told me the city has spent enough damn time with you. We are not going to do this any longer with you. That camera is out there, and it is based on, I know exactly, he directed towards me that I know good and darn well what that camera is out there for. It rides on the sheriff's backbone. So that makes me more suspicious that now the sheriff has some sort of camera out there. I said, no, I don't know about that. Well, your HOA knows about that. And I said, no, I did my due diligence, and they do not. I've had enough of you, not dealing with you, have a nice day, and slams the phone down. I go to the police department. They've had no further information, but the captain did go, let me go up and check with command staff. So Deputy Chief Proctor came out and noticed the same anomaly emitting from the community. So I scratched my head. He scratched his head, I guess. I don't know what he did. Nobody communicated with me. I'm just a lowly citizen. I took it upon myself to come down to City Hall to get a copy of the recorded phone call that I had with the city manager. I made the assumption that call was recorded because where I work, the calls were recorded in city government. Found that wasn't to be the case. So, but in my contact with the staff in the city manager's office, he wasn't available. I just said, hey, if he's by chance available, can I have a meeting with him? I didn't demand a meeting. I didn't slam my fist down. I talked just like I am talking today. I didn't do anything. So I proceeded to go to the city clerk's office to submit. Maybe the city clerk can assist me with this. at which time I was in the city clerk's office standing there waiting, and there's 3 clerks in there, 3 females, one of them far along in her pregnancy. And I don't know where Robin disappeared to, but I asked her to come out, and she came out. And as she went to greet me, the city manager came in through the city clerk's door and screamed at the top of his lungs that you outside right now. I took it as a threat, as a challenge to a duo of a fist fight of some sort. I did not particularly care for it, so I kindly answered him and said, no. He said it again, exclaimed it again, and I said, no, I'm here to conduct city business. I'm getting a public records request. At which time he went behind me in city clerk's area where the swinging door is. I have video to show you. And he told the clerk and the pregnant woman and the other 2 females in there, go into lockdown mode, lockdown, lockdown, lockdown. 3 females exited their work sections, stopped all city work, fled into a Robin's rear office. I assume it's her rear office. I don't get back there. I'm not privy back there. And we're told to lock the door and barricade the door. The manager walked around through the back towards Human Resources and did the same. I didn't particularly appreciate it. I stood there at the clerk's office, standing on the desk, leaning against the desk like I was. I had an aha moment and said, I have one of these new fancy smartphone things that has a little recorder on it. And I'm looking up and I'm staring right at a camera. You have cameras throughout your building, obviously, but I said, let me go ahead and capture I'm in a public building, so let me capture that. So I turned that camera on and I started to record. So those are the recordings I want you to watch this evening. I'm going to put them on to you. Again, I've talked to each and every one of you. I've talked to Margaret. I saw you at last Tuesday's council meeting before the meeting, and I got your email. I appreciate you at least responding to me late Friday afternoon. I don't feel there's a need for me to consult with the legal counsel. I do not need counsel. I don't want counsel. I've done nothing illegal. That brings up a point I don't want to forget. City Hall was locked down, production done, city citizens doing their business were evacuated over the Sky Bridge. Please exit the building. You know, there's a national crisis going on for some 100% disabled combat veteran dressed in the same attire that I wore that evening. The only thing I'm missing that you'll see in the video is my sunglasses. It was sunny that day. I did absolutely nothing wrong. So, but now the police are on their way. Yours truly is not going to absconder to look like the bad guy. So I decided to stay and await. You'll see from these videos, to me, videos are prima facie evidence. You make your own determination off these videos. No police reports done. When I talk to each of you, when I've talked to the manager, he's made it explicitly and crystal clear to me, and I'm sure he's made it crystal clear to you. He does not work for a single one of you at all. He works for the entity. I was also educated by Mark. I didn't know you worked for them directly too. I didn't know that. Those are the only 2 employees that work. I'm new to city government. But being a resident here, a voter, of all you officials here, I think the conduct of the city manager on this day was inappropriate. I've asked him on police complaints to hear me out. Those meetings fell on deaf ears, i.e. they never occurred. They would not occur. So I have a snowball's chance in wherever to have a meeting with the city manager. I don't know what his rationale is. I don't like it. And I would like a board of inquiry or whatever the city does, because when I ask each of you, no one seems to know what the true way to lodge a grievance, a complaint, a concern, an inquiry, whatever term you want to use, because I've learned in city government, if you use the wrong word, if you say hurt instead of injured, it's not the same thing. So I don't know the trick word or the buzzword. So I'm asking for whatever word you use. Does it go to the governor? Does it go to the state attorney? Do you hire private counsel to come in to look? Do you hire a private investigator? I don't know. I think what the city manager did that day, he way overreacted. He locked down the building, put people's safety in jeopardy. He writes that mandated a city hall lockdown at 4:30 due to the behavior of Mr. Wendell De La Rosa upon entering city hall. I'm hearing now too, because you see this, yours truly's handshakes. My health concerns is really not the council's business nor the city manager's business, but if you're going to start getting to people's health concerns, then I guess anybody that suffers some type of health concern, where their handshake or they get up in years, they're not allowed into City Hall because they could pose a threat or a danger to a city employee. I disagree in the tactics that the manager uses. His way of leadership in government is heavy-handed in the way of, it's iron-fisted. It's my way or the highway. That works well in the United States Navy. Does not work well in the city government. When I first met you in February of this year, you said you worked for the citizens of Port Orange. How quickly that turned. Extremely quickly. Then I read a newspaper article on you where it said citizen participation, this is quoting you, citizen participation is a necessary evil. That's alarming. That's disturbing to me. That citizen participation is a necessary evil. Then another quote of yours was trust but verify. Good old Ronald Reagan. Loved the man to death. Worked for him. Guess what? I'm a believer in that too. Trust but verify. I trust you. The citizens trust you with budgets, with the right things, with emergency management, with all the storms we go through, etc. But we have to actually verify a little bit. And when we ask questions, we expect them answered. If I call on a parked car, if I call on a burglar in the neighborhood, since it's my name, it shouldn't go, it's his name, it goes to the bottom of the burner, we just don't answer it. That's the sense I get, and I don't like it. Threatening to wait for me at your vehicle is not a true statement. I love the cherry picking out of things. I said I have something to the effect of a better chance of meeting you at your vehicle, and you'll see from the tapes, the vehicle that is illegally parked, in my opinion, because you've made it clear you're the city manager, not city council. It's parked on white lines that says city council. You've made it clear you're the city manager, you're not city council. So why do you park there? Then your comment on the video where I'm standing there recording you says that you are just a regular old city employee. If you're a regular old city employee, and I say I personally say on the video, I think personally, you rate a sign. You're the CEO of the city, you run the city, you rate your own sign, your own parking spot. That's the difference between me and you is your comments. Okay. But if you're a regular citizen, a regular city employee, why don't you park where the rest of the city employees park? Parking a $100,000 plus car in front of City Hall, to me, as a citizen and a taxpayer, sends the wrong message to the citizens of Port Orange when I sit here and listen to the church groups, the energy groups, every so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so, the chicken coop people, everybody comes out here and voices their stuff on what they need money for and why, and how important it is. It sends the wrong message to me. That's my opinion. I'm but one voter. That's it. But I do talk to people. Maybe I'll sway other votes. But point being, I just think it sends the wrong message. I think you rate a spot. You guys figure that out. That's bigger than me. Previously, he's also insinuated that he would surveil my house as a retaliatory measure. Now, each and every one of you have those emails. You have every one of those emails. Surveillance saying, when I leave this council meeting, I get those two confused. Council meeting this evening, I do not wish to be hit by a drunk driver and broadside me and kill me. I assume you don't want that either. That's just making a factual statement. Me saying, I personally don't want to be surveilled, just like you don't want to be surveilled. That's a far reach to say he's insinuated that he would surveil my house as a retaliatory measure. That's a far, far reach. I'm going to step out on a limb here and say I think right now we're at nuclear war with North Korea because I read Facebook on the way in here. So don't operate in these tactics. It's false. I don't like it. Operate on what you see for facts. I'm going to put up some videos, this is where I say we're considering setting parameters for his future visits. So are you going to discriminate on me because of my white shirt, my beard, I've heard it's because of my shaky hand. I've heard because he could come in here and God forbid, cause some employees. Well, that's the whole citizen. That's everybody. You guys could come and attack me right now. You should not be allowed in this building. You could do that. Well, so let's operate on facts, not personal feelings and egos, and that's what I don't like. That's the only thing I do not like. I'm going to stress. I made it to each and every one of you. Due to sunshine laws, I couldn't. You guys. I don't know all the rules and regulation. He's made it clear he works for all of you. So you are all here. We have the entire council here. I'm going to ask for what is the proper procedure? What is city manager complaint form 1 or council looks into it form 2? I don't know. If you guys don't know, the citizen sure as heck doesn't know. By the way, Don, I did get your email briefly coming in right before I came in here. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to respond.
No problem.
Also, request I'm going to make is for the chief of police, because this goes to the chief of police. Is the reason for this whole thing that started was this anomaly of a camera and the chief. My name does not need to be briefed at every shift change for the officers of the city of Port Orange. I'm no threat. I'm not asking for a pass to rob banks and do craziness. So I just treat me like a normal citizen, just like I treat you. Enough said on that. So I'm going to go to the videos. I'll let you make your. She has the volume. Make your personal assumption, your personal things. You'll hear what was said. You can make your own determinations. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the vehicle in question. This is the city manager's vehicle. This is what I swear that clear to me says reserved council. That for those who don't know, that is the city manager's vehicle. That is the city manager's vehicle. That is the city manager's vehicle. So it's clear to me the city manager can park where he wants. Dedicate him that spot then. Paint a line, put it in there, put a sign with his name on it. But of course he says he doesn't rate that. Well, if he doesn't rate it, then don't park there. So that's getting off topic a little bit. The main concern was coming down here. I had one minor concern, camera concern. That's what drew this small bit, not even an anthill, into a gigantic mountain that has turned beyond belief. So you'll see yours truly in the same outfit when the brain kicked on to turn on my iPhone as this thing was transpiring. You'll see. And you'll see if everybody is so afraid of yours truly, you had a person from HR, Jason, stand there and watch me. I have a conversation with him. How long you been in the Army, Jason? He's wearing a retired Army lanyard. The manager walks by me on multiple occasions, you'll see. Matter of fact, he's waving at me as if to mock me. I don't know. You make your own determination. I hate to bring all this stuff up out here in public, but that's what I was told I have to do to get this in a public forum. That's the only way to get my complaint in. So you got me. So here we go.
Want to wait for the police to come? Take care of Mr. Della Rosa here.
Go ahead.
We are, Mr. Della Rosa.
That's fine.
All right.
Do you know where this recorder goes by chance? No, that's good. What time does the city close? 5? Do you have a phone? Is there a phone where you can dial the city attorney? 5525. A phone, can you call the city attorney, Margaret Roberts? The city attorney.
You want to call her office?
Yeah, please. Have her come down with the city manager.
Jake's there.
Yeah, I understand that, but he's going to make a legal decision that he may regret. That's what I'm trying to tell him. Not coming into a building and having people go scurry to their office. We're saying, hey, can I speak to Robin? Okay.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, me neither. Here, I'll walk around and see. As I wait at City Hall for the police, the mayor says that they put the building in lockdown because I'm here. Hey,
Sir, let me get you back upstairs.
What was your name again, sir?
Jason.
Jason, what was your last name? How long did you do in the Army?
23 years.
23. Cool. What was your MOS?
I was 42. I did HR.
HR? Gotcha. 42 Alpha, right? Nope. Yeah. He's been a little overboard, I think. Just a little bit. Just a tad. Well, they're awful slow for being called. Coming in the building, and I just stepped outside, and it's on the front oval right there. Had been just clearly waiting for the police arrival the whole time, and I went to shake the councilman's hand or greet. He said hello, I said hello, at which time the city manager grabbed him, armed around him, and he whisked him away into a private secure facility inside the buildings. And I don't know what was told to the councilman. The councilman can hear. I didn't hear it. I don't know what he shuffled you off to put you in safety due to my mere presence in City Hall. Here's the last and final video, and then it'll go into the police. I'm glad you feel this is necessary for a public records request.
Made some comments. The admin assistant from the cities.
Which or what? Where's the public records people? And come over to the clerk and ask her if I can get public records?
I believe you asked to talk with me and that you said you wait outside illegally parked car.
Yeah. Oh, okay. By your illegally parked car. That made her uncomfortable. Okay. Cool. I'm good with it. I stated a fact. The car's illegally parked. Correct? It's just a fact. It's a fact. It says city council. Last time I checked, you're not a member of council, as you put it, not commission, council.
What's the ordinance that states that council can park else?
Because it's clearly marked. It's clearly marked. I don't know. We'll let the police officers figure it out.
Sure. I'm good with
Me too. Illegally parked. I noticed you when I wrote about it 6 months ago, you didn't park it there for a month. In all honesty, I think you rate your own parking spot. As a city manager, I think you would have one delegated for you. I mean, that's just me. But whatever.
I believe that.
You don't believe that? I do believe that. You should have your own parking spot.
There's the difference.
You don't believe you should have your own parking spot? Why not?
City employee just like everybody else.
Okay, well, the commission are part-time and they're not here all the time. You should have, yes,
Which is why they've given me.
Okay, well, then that makes sense. That would have been a good answer to me 6 months ago, too. And a good answer to me today was, I don't know what you're talking about when you said it's on the sheriff's department's backbone. That means nothing to me. What does that mean?
I know we spend an inordinate amount of
It's just a simple.
describing to you what's
It's a simple
in
question.
the city.
It's
Times, hours a day, trying to help figure out why the city's get you.
the chief of
If
the
you
assistant.
just go do your business,
I do my
we
business.
would We would do ours.
And that's all I wanted to do. That's it. That's it. I came here for a public records request. And Robin Fenwick sent me an email wanting to know if I want to be on the commission's agenda next week for an hour. Correct.
So why did you go in my office?
To see if you
know
want,
that public records are in there.
because I asked her if the phones were recorded here.
What does that have to do with the public record?
Because that's the record I want. I want to,
Ask Robin, the person in charge of.
I don't know who does those records. I asked
You're
her.
absolutely aware of who
No,
does
I do
public
not. No, I
records.
do not. I know the police department who does their records. Her name's Heather. That's who I know.
All right,
I don't know anybody over here that does records.
all right. I'm just saying that.
And if you were
My
available,
executive assistant was threatened by what you said, and so that's why.
okay, threatened. And how was that?
Sergeant Green, I'd like to meet Mr. Del Rosa.
Hey, how are you? Is your camera on so I can turn mine off? Is your camera on so I can turn mine off? My battery's dying. Thank you. Police cameras, but basically the same. This is the other officer, backup officer that arrives shortly thereafter. So you get where I just talked to her and said her camera's on, my camera goes off. He enters right where she just entered. Yeah, I know, and I did that. Hey, how's it going?
How's it going?
Good. And he wasn't, 25 on tag. You can have walk-ins too. I was just down, I was just down at your police department and talked to Captain Brosio. I didn't have an appointment.
That's fine.
But, you know,
If
it's
you
just
realize
like I can-
here, you need to set up an appointment.
Not necessarily, no, he has time.
No, I'm
If-
telling you, you need to set up an appointment.
And if he can't, if he was available at the specific time while I was here, coincidentally, we could have had a conversation. He could have said, yes, matter of fact, I'm available.
Okay,
What
but
you
that's
got?"
not happening right now.
And that's
Okay,
fine.
You're gonna need to set up an appointment.
And I said, that's fine, he's not available, that's fine. So I walked over here and have been standing over here in the city clerk's office, awaiting the city clerk to come out. And he ran over and put them all in lockdown, said everybody's in lockdown.
City manager?
Hey, can you call Captain Brosio, please? I just left your police
No,
department.
actually, I'm gonna be the supervisor on scene, so.
Hey, who's the
you have to
shift
stay
lieutenant?
on duty.
Okay. How's it going?
Man, pretty good. What's
Oh, nothing.
training?
Oh,
Yeah.
training? You do ghostwriting?
He's doing a ride along with the department.
I gotcha.
So,
I'm gonna sit down.
okay, yeah. So how's everything else been going?
Oh, not bad. Actually, pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Again, I just came down just like I am right now. I'm cool, collected. He said I wanted to see him if he was available. I said no, and I said I'm going to do a public records request. His conversation he had with me on the phone that was less than professional, I should say.
Yeah.
And I want a copy of that phone call so I can play it for next Tuesday's commission meeting.
Understandable.
I'm a citizen.
I think
I'm not armed. I'm not threatening anybody
And
by saying
nobody
his
said you-
car is illegally parked out here. Can you go get your city ordinance book? I would like his car written a citation. It's parked illegally.
my supervisor's right there, so I'm kind of going with whatever.
Okay. Right now, we are gonna have to ask you to leave it. Okay, because
Go ahead.
you are upsetting people with your demeanor. Whether you agree or not, this is what's happening. You're gonna have to make an appointment by telephone or by email to
Have
meet
the
with
city
the city.
commissioner come out and see.
No, this is what's happening right now because I have the first floor on lockdown and I have patrons that need to get out. So, but I cannot.
Then my request is speak to the shift commander. That's my request.
That's, you're speaking with me.
You're the shift commander. You're the shift
I
lieutenant.
am in charge right now.
You're the shift lieutenant.
I am the shift lieutenant for my shift because the
There's
other
no-
lieutenant
he's
is
out.
busy, so.
Well, I would like to
Now,
speak
are
to
you,
him or her.
are you not gonna leave?
I didn't say that. No,
Okay.
don't try to
You
trump
can-
something up there.
You can speak
Don't
tomorrow.
try.
You can call tomorrow.
Don't try that one on me.
You can call tomorrow and
Yes,
speak with
tomorrow's
the
Tuesday.
shift lieutenant or the captain if he's available. Right now I have to take care of the situation, which means I need for you to leave, get back in your car, and leave the property.
Okay. Can you ask
I need to facilitate that.
That's fine. Can you ask your supervisor to please come down here? I'm asking that on camera for you to have them come down here.
Right now, they don't need to come down here?
Well, I'm making that request. If you're going to deny me that request, that's fine. You're making that adult decision. That's fine.
Okay.
But I will drive to the police department and I will make the complaint to the captain that you're denying me a report. You'll ship lieutenant to come to the
Well, he's the one that sent me down here.
Who?
So that's
Captain Brosio? Okay, well, great. Well, then, can you call him on the radio and have him come down here? I appreciate
Now,
meeting
I'm
with
taking
him.
care of the problem now, which means I'm going to need you to leave the property.
Okay, but wait a minute. Is this a city property, a public property? This is a public property, right?
When you're making people upset,
I'm
and you
not
walk
doing
down the
anything.
city, that's...
How am I doing
I'm
anything?
telling you, that's how people feel, so I need you to leave.
I'm not doing anything.
Go ahead and leave for me, sir.
I'm not doing anything. Again, if you're going to deny me the captain, come down here.
You can't come in here upset.
I'm not upset.
And make people feel unsafe.
I've not done that. I've not done that.
That's what I'm telling you people are feeling. So
Well,
because
that's
people
not
feel that
okay. Well,
way,
you're
we have
making
to-
me feel upset too. I need you to leave. You know, that's not right. Come on.
You're gonna leave first.
Quick, run! I would like this addressed. I would like this illegally parked car addressed. That's an illegally parked car. I would like it addressed.
So, right now, I'm not here for that. I'm here for you.
Okay, I'm
And
here
I
for
need
that.
you to go ahead and leave.
Then I can park in that parking lot.
I don't need you staying around here making people feel unsafe.
I'm not doing anything.
So, go ahead and get in your car.
Okay, I don't know how you can legally tell me to go off of a city property where I'm here down, I'm calm, cool, collected. I've done absolutely nothing wrong. I've asked because I told the city
I've
manager.
already told you.
Okay, then I
You
want
made
the,
them unsafe, so I need you to go ahead
okay,
and
well, that car is making me
please step
unsafe.
away from that car.
This is my
This is your
car.
car? Okay.
Yeah. I would like that car ticketed. I want that car ticketed. I want the car ticketed and towed. It's illegally parked. That car is illegally parked. And I'd like it ticketed and towed. Okay?
I have it on record that you said.
Okay, then can you go address that vehicle? You're not with me. That parking lot, I want that vehicle towed inside cited. It's illegally parked. Illegally parked.
I do not. I think you might be.
Illegally parked. You don't want to call a captain, right?
I've already given you my decision, sir.
Okay, can you call, is the station going to be closed
Sir?
by the time I get there? Then, are you going to go to the station for the citizens complaint? Do I meet you at the station for the citizens complaint on you?
Go ahead and leave the property right now and do what you feel you need to do.
Well, nobody's going to be at the station because the station will be closed by the time I get there. So,
I'm not going to argue with you, sir. You need to leave.
okay, then I'm leaving. But I'm going to the station. Is the station open or closed? Will the captain meet me there?
Port Orange Police Department stays open 24/7. I
There's
can't
a
guarantee
desk
you the
officer
captain's
there?
going to be there. I don't know that.
Your doors don't lock at like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock?
They lock at 5, and then there's access to dispatch. So go ahead and leave, sir, so I can get people out of here.
Okay, can you have the ship lieutenant meet me at the station?
Yes, sir.
So that's pretty much all I have. I have a couple notes. I've seen Mr. Johansson out on at least, I would say 15 to 20 occasions out on the town to inside of buildings and things, at least 20 occasions. And I've always referred to you as Captain or Mr. Manager. That's always been how I addressed you, each and every time. Is that correct? I make the assumption that's correct since it's not, you're not going to answer. Well, I'll make it clear now. I'm not going to address you that way anymore. I'll address you as Little Man Corrupt Jake. That's your new title to me. That's what you are. You're corrupt. and I want the council to look into it. Your bosses. And I've said with that citizen on patrol, the volunteer on patrol, seen me come into the police station on no less than 20 occasions. He's very cordial, he's jovial, never had a problem. But why is it that you lock down City Hall and want to implement some sort of procedures by my mere presence? That's the questions I want answered. Not just a stare down. So I'm here for questions. So you're not going to respond because I know you're sitting there embarrassed because your conduct was unbecoming. If you were in the Navy,
Mayor, I believe that the speaker is supposed to address the mayor, not the city manager. Is that correct?
Yes.
okay,
Please.
his conduct is unbecoming. If he was in the Navy, he would be out. So your conduct in the Navy is inappropriate. Your conduct here is inappropriate. So I don't think you should throw any citizen out of the city building, a public building. I come in here, then I think I should be exempt from paying my water bill, if that's what you want me to do. I don't have to pay property taxes anymore. That's correct, since I'm not allowed to conduct business down here. I mean, where does this end? And how do we indiscriminately get to pick and choose? And I was told that, well, he runs the day-to-day operations of the city. He can pick and choose who he wants in and out of the building. Well, I have a big problem with that. If you have somebody that can just arbitrarily discriminate against somebody for, sir, I don't like your bald head. You know, he could throw you out. You're a minority. You shouldn't.
Wendell, you gotta talk to us.
I'm addressing you. This gentleman is this. What, are you going to discriminate against him? Are you going to discriminate against him for his age? Are you going to discriminate against him for his flip-flop shoes? What is your basis, I guess, is what I'm after. How do you do that? So I'm not a threat to anybody. I've talked to each and every one of you. I've been respectful. My emails have gone to you. You have them all. There's nothing in there threatening you to surveil your house. I have no reason to surveil his house. He does enough buffoonery here for me I could sit here for years just monitoring what he does here. Why would I have to surveil his house? That's my comments. So, in closing, can someone tell me the proper protocol and procedure to lodge a complaint, something where the city will not sweep it under the rug, and somebody will admonish, reprimand, whatever, take appropriate action for the conduct? I just disagree in it. And if I think other citizens probably disagree in it too. You may or may not. I don't know. Can I ask that question? Mr. Mayor, do you agree in your subordinate's conduct that he works for you? Do you agree in his conduct? I've been told by others on the council member, I won't call people out, I would have handled the situation a lot different. Everybody's answer is, I would have handled it a lot different. Then that's what needs to happen. Handle it a lot different. So that's all I ask for. Let me do my business here. I have business here. I have a home here. I've been here for over 5 decades. He's been here for less than 2 years. So what questions would the city have of me before I wrap it up and leave? Because I want to know what
If you're done with your presentation, then absolutely, that's the next step. The council does have an opportunity to ask questions of you.
Okay.
Are we at that point?
I think I am. I think the videos speak on themselves.
I just want to make sure that you've done everything.
Yeah, I think I have. I think I've taken enough time up, and I'm done. I think my point is driven home. I think I'm satisfied with what I've presented. So
certainly, all of us have an opportunity to ask you and question you, and then examine all this. And you asked if you have an opportunity to lodge a complaint. Obviously, you just did, very verbally, in front of the 5 individuals that Mr. Johansson works for, so it will be up to us moving forward. But before we do anything and get into that, obviously, we need to make sure that we have everything that we need, and we have that opportunity to ask you questions right now. Chase, do you have anything for Wendell?
No, I don't have any, I don't have any questions. I appreciate you taking the time, and I appreciated talking to you the other day. I like you. I have great respect for you. Appreciate your service. Naturally, I always want to, before I form an opinion, I want to, do all the due diligence on every side, of course. But you certainly had my ear tonight, Wendell, as I mentioned to you beforehand.
Well, one of the employees was here earlier. She knew I was going to ask her a direct question, Madam Clerk. She was there. She, the next day when I came in, I should also bring up, the next day when I came in, because that was close of business, 5 o'clock that day, from 4:25 to 5 o'clock-ish. I came in the next day around 10, and the pregnant clerk employee had not been debriefed that I'm not a national security threat, and she again took flight back to the rear office that this individual, me, was on premises again, which it's uncalled for. Robin debriefed her and gave her that I'm not a threat, that I'm allowed down here. And I find it, I think I said this, I don't know, you have to pardon me, my memory's not the best in the world as you get a little bit older. I don't know if I brought this up, but the two of you are retired Port Orange policemen, and I've lived here for a long, long time. Port Orange will do a police report for a cat stuck in a tree. City Hall was locked down. People in danger. People could have hurt themselves. People embarrassed, etc. There was not even a police incident report done. That's how frivolous this is. That's how, if your own police department that works for you will not write a police report, that should tell you something.
Let's keep going with the questions. Bob?
I really don't have, Wendell and I go back a long time. We had long conversations on the phone. You were very clear. I checked, I did due diligence. I went through everything. It's pretty clear to me what happened. So I don't really have any questions.
Drew? Wendell, I've known you a long time, worked with both of your brothers, Jim and Mike, for a long time, a lot of years, and again, appreciate your service to your country and your community as a soldier and a police officer. I don't really have anything. I'm not really right now, after seeing this, not really prepared to make a statement or anything. But I really didn't see anything in those videos that was outrageous.
Outrageous on my part? Is that what you're
On
saying?
anybody's part, really.
Okay, but it's not outrageous right now either. You're not going to lock the building down, are you?
No.
Oh, okay, I was just checking.
No, there's no lockdown. We're doing city business. It's
Well, yeah,
little,
that's
little
what
after 8 o'clock.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do too. So.
Okay.
Scott, you got questions?
Yeah, one of the first image that you showed us, is that an image of like when your phone detects a wireless network or something, and
right.
it shows up on your screen?
Screenshot.
That's what that is?
Yes, that's a screenshot.
So did you ever figure out what that is?
Yes, come to find out, it was I found this out Friday last week. And again, the police response was less than forthcoming. The response back to me, I'd have to pull it out, it's in an email, was the wireless device has been looked into. Chief Proctor had the email. He could have cordially just sent it to me to say this matter's put to rest. But no, he had to give it to the captain. The captain wrote his own words, didn't send me the email. But lo and behold, it was our HOA has a management company. The management company hired out through a subcontractor who put in some sort of device, and their naming nomenclature is POPD-camera cop. Probably not a good idea. And then funny, when I submitted the email to all of council and mayor and etc., that subcontractor didn't pay the bill, and it was abruptly shut down. So which made yours truly a little more suspect that, hey, 24 hours after sending this email in, this camera is now, this anomaly has now disappeared. And it made the HOA suspect.
So it's a device that belongs to a subcontractor hired by your HOA?
Absolutely.
Of a private community?
Correct. So this turned out to be an absolutely nothing.
Okay.
And again, I wrote in the multiple emails, if this is even your device, if we don't know, I don't know.
But I thought your HOA told you that it
They
wasn't.
did. They did, and they
theirs.
checked with the management company, and the management company said it is not ours. So when Chief Proctor checked with the management company, she said, "I'm hearing a lot about this silly camera thing. Let me dive in neck deep," and she did. Her name is Jessica Cox, and her and Chief Proctor had some comms back and forth. I was privileged to those communications over the weekend, which indicate that he was aware of what it was, but still, again, they did not close the loop with this, just like closing the loop on the illegally parked vehicle out front. The loop's not closed. The loop was, I happened to see Councilman Bastian and and the fire chief and the police chief standing out in front of City Hall, and I pulled up and said, "Hey, Chief of Police, are you going to address that illegally parked vehicle?" And his answer was, "It has been addressed. There's nothing we're going to do about it. It's a non-regulatory sign. It's a courtesy sign, and that's all it is. So you cannot enforce it." At which time I said, "Oh, so then anybody in the general public can park there then?" And he said, "Well, I don't give you permission to park there." And I said, "But you just said you can't enforce it, so I can park there, or anybody in the community can park there." Because I talked to one of you commissioners as well. You have 2 handicapped parking spots out there. You have 2 handicapped employees. They take those spots. The rest of the citizens come in to pay their bill, get a permit, get a contract, arm wrestle with the city manager, whatever the case may be. You have to park at the library to come do business, to come meet with Congressman DeSantis, etc. On the PAWS Act, the service dogs for veterans. So I have business in this building, and I come over here. So again, you heard me on video. I think he rates his own spot. Whatever you guys do, that's fine.
Right, I just wanted to clarify.
It was cleared up.
So that had nothing to do with the city. That was your HOA's device.
Correct.
Okay.
And I thought it was it would be a rookie move for some rookie special investigative unit investigator to slap a naming nomenclature like that. But then again,
Your HOA hired him, right?
you got it.
Yo.
So
All right. I just wanted to clear that up.
it's
'cause
clear.
That seemed to be.
It's clear, and that's
Got
all
it.
I want. That's all I wanted in the first place. And
Gotcha.
the chief can testify. Well, he's gone now. I sent it to the chief and Captain Brosio. Hey, I truly apologize that this turned into a mountain and turned into abrupt phone calls and hanging up and lockdown of city halls and pregnant women diving under desks, and all this craziness. Because it was my own HOA's management company that subcontracted. So and then the bill didn't get paid, and it simultaneously got disconnected the day. So as the Jessica Cox told me in the email, this appears to have been a perfect storm.
Okay.
But I was just looking at answers from the city, and I think I had a valid question. Doing what I did in my line of work, I just don't. I'm a believer that in your email to me, we value your privacy. You value the privacy.
Absolutely.
I value the privacy. We all value our privacy. A surveillance device on your property makes you kind of scratch your head, especially when it has that nomenclature. And it drew attention to me and a few others to ask, and we did everything we could via the HOA management company, and then we took the step to summons the police, request a police assistance on what is, and you'll see if you read my emails, they say that. Can somebody just tell me what the heck this is? I'm done with the city.
Well, no, and I know when you and I talked, that at the time at least, I believe, so that must be new information, because at the time you even told me that your HOA said it's absolutely not ours.
They didn't, and I got it late this weekend, and I got it today from Don at 4 o'clock maybe.
Gotcha.
Right? Was that
This afternoon.
Yeah, this afternoon. I'm guessing 4 o'clock-ish.
I don't have anything else, Mayor.
So that's it.
Thank you.
So no, I had a valid concern. That's what led into this. This.
Wendell, thank you. I'm going to give a chance for the public to speak. Anybody else?
Thank you,
This
Wendell.
issue.
Mayor and Council, I think you'd probably agree. My main focus here over the years has been from a financial vantage. That's the main thing that floats my boat. I did some FOI investigation myself, and I have here in my hands a release between the city and De La Rosa, valued at $20,000. Check from the city to De La Rosa for 20 grand. I understand it was paid by the manager coming in under his $25,000 limit.
That's not correct.
Let him finish, Mark.
Excuse me.
Well, then how was it paid? And why didn't it come to council? And why haven't the members of the public been informed of this $20,000 expenditure? And it's clear what the expenditure is for. The expenditure is for police actions, not misappropriate actions. No siree, but for police actions on 3 dates. So again, back from my financial concern, how was this $20,000 paid? How was it approved? Did it come to you guys? Are you all aware of it? Are you approving stuff in private? Are you approving stuff in silo? What's going on here?
Mr. Mayor, I'll be happy to get with Mr. Noftel and bring him up to speed.
Well, it's not just Mr. Noftel. The citizens would like to know as well. It's a $20,000 expenditure. Mr. Ford, Councilman Ford, has crystal clear described the budget process in this town. It's a game. A game. We game it down to nickels and dimes, and that's what we make our final decision on. That's a poor way to budget. You've got a public safety between fire and police, $22 million, 1%. That's $220,000. That's how you budget. You tell those department heads, make do it 99 cents on the dollar in the coming year. And if they can't do that, you replace the department heads. Anybody can live on 99 cents on the dollar. You could in your personal budget. I could in my personal budget. So once again, I would like to know how this $20,000 was paid, not what it was paid for, but how it was paid and how all it was approved. If it's not paid, approved under his $25,000 limit, how did it get paid? How did it get approved? Has it come to you all? Are you aware of it? Whole bunch of questions. We sure would like some answers on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? There being nothing else. Certainly, Drew, I think you hit the nail on the head. This was an awful lot. We need to consume it. We do meet again in 2 weeks. If council wants to request an item added to the agenda, I can do that, or 2 council people can do that. But I'm just giving you the outline of what we do moving forward. But certainly we all need to absorb this because it was a pretty involved presentation. And thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it, Winnie. City Attorney comments?
I have nothing further this evening.
City Manager comments?
Yes, sir, Mayor, Council, in light of the upcoming...
I forgot council comments.
Can we go on?
I apologize. I forgot council comments.
Oh,
but we
please.
Can come, no, we can. You started. Go ahead. We can
Okay,
come back
fair
to
enough.
us.
Fair enough. So we still have a $222,000 bogey in the budget. It was balanced with non-departmental, and we will have to come forth with a budget appropriation to put that money in the right pot moving forward. I don't think we can live with it all out of non-departmental. It was just the easiest place to pull it on the last meeting when we approved the budget. So having said that, one of the things that was brought forth that meeting was to freeze all personnel new hires. There are 3 hires, one that's not time sensitive, but 2 of which I think should at least command your immediate attention. And that is the firefighter that if we hire this person, he needs to be hired and in training by January, and the recreation supervisor for Riverwalk. The recreation supervisor will have to be advertised, hired, and in place in order for events to continue to happen at Riverwalk. We're currently taking it out of Hyde for Port Orange 150, and people are already starting to ask for events in the following year. and we don't have anybody to really do the hard work to plan those events with these people, keeping in mind that those are revenue generating events that would go away. There will be more requests for unfreezing on an incremental basis, but those are two that I think should command your attention here, if not tonight, in October. And the CSO and the police chief or police officer will be next. The police officer is April. The CSO is as soon as possible. So those are the four. Two of them for consideration tonight, and I can put in a more formal request for the other two.
So which two are you asking for tonight, just to be
The
clear?
recreation supervisor and the firefighter.
And this fits into our current budget as of, and
Fits
it's
into the one you approved,
in this iteration.
but I'm still a little bit, I'm
Their
still
time-
crunching the numbers for the 222.
And particularly the firefighter is time sensitive based on class timing and the like.
Right.
I make a motion to put the to unfreeze the firefighter.
Second.
Council comment?
I think he was asking for two to.
Well, we can take them one at a
Okay.
time. I think it's probably
Oh,
more
okay,
appropriate we do.
And that position gets filled in January? I'm sorry, Jake, did you say January?
Sorry, Robin. Yes, he's got to be in position to start school in January.
Okay.
So advertised,
So they,
hired, on board, going
School.
to school.
so they come on the payroll in January?
And if I recall, this is the hire the EMS guy, train him to be a firefighter, not hire the firefighter, train him to be an EMS guy. Reverse order.
Got it.
Any other discussion on this one?
No.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I would entertain a motion on the other one.
Motion to approve the, I want to word it right, recreation supervisor? Motion to approve the unfreezing of the recreation supervisor.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Question. One of the concerns we had, the reason they're frozen, is our financial situation, and you're saying that you can pay the bills for our trip, for all the debris pickup and the like, and any other costs due to the storm.
Due to Irma, absolutely. We're 75% less debris. We have reserves. We talked to
Our reserves are below,
below your guidance. So the question that Vice Mayor Ford asked last 2 weeks ago was, until we get reasonable assurances that the Matthew money is here or coming. It's no closer to coming, but we got a great brief on the process, and now we clearly understand that the way we're filling out the paperwork is complete. We understand the federal process, we understand the state process, and I can reasonably expect that money in the January, February timeframe, possibly as
Amazing
late as
what,
March.
Experience can teach you.
Right, and you know, again, that meeting was very eye-opening for us, but not to belabor the point, but there's a lot of sister cities that are in dire straits because they got bridge loans to do Matthew. Now they're going to have to bridge loan again for Irma and start paying for the Matthew loan. So we're in a little bit better shot.
Jake, I know, is this, question, is this position funded the entire year?
It is.
It is.
on the event, they go out and seek events, or
They do not. So you have an event planner right now at Lakeside.
Can't that person do it?
He works 220 events here at Lakeside and the amphitheater. He's averaging about 65, 66 hours a week already. Adding Riverwalk, which is geographically not located in the same place, would pump him up to 80 hours. And at that point,
Don't the
with
people,
overtime.
don't the people that do the events aren't they supposed to take the event, people that are putting on the events, aren't they supposed to be doing the coordination and everything?
They do some of that, but if police are required, if setup's required, if special needs are required, that's what all these people do. We provide, now we get revenue from this, don't forget.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
paying these people,
Are
but we get revenue.
Is the revenue sufficient to cover the position?
Lakeside, yes. There's some, it gets complicated, there's some discounts. Sometimes council.
Sometimes
Yeah.
we do giveaways up here.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're
Sometimes
right.
it's a city event or a partnered event, and we don't charge. Like if we all wanted to go to Lakeside on a Saturday for a strategic workshop,
Yeah, we don't charge ourselves.
we wouldn't charge ourselves, and we wouldn't get revenue for a wedding or an event that Saturday. So that's kind of cost loss. But
What did
but
we
yes,
do for the last 20 years? We didn't have event coordinators. How did,
I believe you did.
You did.
We
We
did.
have had them.
You still
Yeah.
do.
Bob, don't let the title, if I can just interject, don't let the title confuse us, because I'm gonna tell you.
it's a recreation coordinator? Is
Way more than a
Yeah.
coordinator. They're also doing the logistics, the setup, the walkthroughs. I mean,
Everything.
having had a couple of events there and been to a wedding there,
How many chairs? How many tables?
yeah, they're
Police is punchy,
they are a-
building's that busy.
They're kind of a one person show. They kind of fill a bunch of roles. They,
I'm gonna-
they may be titled as event coordinator, but
It's getting fairly expensive because it's costing us $60,000 to $70,000 with fringe benefits and everything. 60,000.
And if they're working 65 hours a
Yeah,
week.
and then it's costing us more.
but you certainly can't just turn the keys over to that.
Well, I
that
know,
facility and-
but I'm trying to think of,
Yeah.
is this the right? I mean, we're going to have two now.
Well, we could look at the fee. I'm not
We
not
have two-
opposed to looking at the fee schedule.
Yeah, or
For those facilities, we'll certainly do that.
And we're gonna have two facilities, so,
And I
you
think
know,
it-
we
well, that's a
need the-
park. It's really not a facility.
So
There'll
so
be,
you have
we'll be
Lakeside-
hosting plenty of events there, I'm
You
sure.
have Lakeside in the amphitheater. You have, I'll call it East Side,
Yeah,
and then you have citywide events as well.
yeah.
And I think experience is going to teach us what our needs are moving forward as well.
You bet.
You know, I think, but we do need to track this because, you know,
We
we're
track-
paying over $100,000.
We track it all with-
$120,000
that's-
for event coordination. So, okay,
Yeah,
I'm not thrilled by it.
Any other
Okay with
comments?
No, I don't know how you make the investment that we've made in
And,
Riverwalk
and not,
I'd
staff
prefer to
lots.
hire a maintenance person for it or, then,
But we're doing that too.
really.
to control it, to clean it, fix it, keep it maintained. But
Any
a
other
full-time
comments?
person just to coordinate?
It's a full-time job at Lakeside. It absolutely is there. And I think experience will, let's evaluate in a year. Let's see what the year was. We'll see what we do.
Getting
ca-
expensive.
Call the roll.
Councilman Tremont.
No.
Councilman Bastian.
Yes.
Councilman Stiltner.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Ford.
No.
Mayor Burnett.
Absolutely, yes. 3-2. Anything else, Jake?
I will be addressing with you, I'll save it for the 17th, but I'll talk about some of the budget adjustments I made. We're waiting on some personnel numbers, and then I'll give you some budget adjustments and where that money's coming from.
That's
So
the
it's
220 and.
the 222, 272. Yep. So
It
we'll
came
we'll
from
show you.
somewhere.
It did.
Okay. Council comments? Chase?
Nothing tonight other than, you know.
Oh, shoot.
Go ahead.
Can I, one more thing.
Yeah.
I apologize. The police pension had an estimated budget authority of $136,000, and the actuarial report listed the percentage at 65%. So I made an additional contribution to the police pension of $100,000 in FY17 to reduce the unfunded liability, which was at 15.7 mil September 30th. I also, the fire pension had estimated FY budget authority of $135,534. The 16 actuarial report listed the funded percent at 58.37, and I made an additional, Tracy, the staff, made an additional $100,000 contribution in FY17 to reduce that unfunded liability of $17.8 million as of September 30th. I reported something similar last year. I just wanted you to know that those funds went to the,
Based on what we'd budgeted.
right.
Okay.
So
Chase?
and now that's all I have.
Okay. Now you can go, Chase.
You know, just, you know, my heart goes out and my prayers go up for all those that are affected by senseless act out in Vegas. I know we have people in our own backyard here that are personally affected by that. So, you know, my kids, my wife go to concerts all the time, and that can happen to any one of us. So, you know, certainly hit home, and, you know, heart goes out to those people, and my prayers are offered. So that's my comment tonight, Mayor. Thanks.
Bob?
Yeah. I have two basic comments. One's on flooding. I've been meeting with various groups in the city that have concerns. I met on Friday with Dalford Road, and I'll be going to see the city manager and bring some notes and the like. I'd like his staff to take a look at it. They have flooding we put in our project, and the problem seems to be that one side of the road has drainage, the other side doesn't. The crown of the road is sufficient to keep the water all on the one side, and we're having some sheet flooding there. It looks like something that we can address and be doable with some grading and some other work, but I want to bring it to the manager's attention. I met with people from the east side, and oh, by the way, Scott, I told them to contact you, Dalford people, and that I would be.
Yeah, I've had a couple of them reach
Yeah,
out.
I told them to call you because I said you'd be very helpful to them. I met with people over on the east side, the flooding, it's again flooding in the canals. We met with the city people and with the county, and by the way, the county was very cooperative, and actually we discussed cleaning some of the mosquito control things, and they seemed very cooperative on it, so I have real hope. But I talked to one of our two councilmen, Denny's also, and she promised her assistance. And again, I am forwarding a memo to the city manager. By the way, I want to say your staff member there, the new acting assistant public works director, was excellent. He is a fine addition to our staff. So I talked about that. And the final one, which I turned over to Cindy today for staff. We have some concerns on flooding on West Bay Shore that I think we need to address. So these are little projects, and what I would like to do gradually with the city is develop a list of all these and, you know, give them some prioritization. I think one of the things we can do is maybe if we can find smaller projects that we have a little dollars here and there to throw it at them, see if we can solve some of the problems. Second concern is something that's a little broader. And that was, I promised tonight that I'd bring it up quickly, and that is we're having some problem with enforcement of large numbers of excessive numbers of students in homes, particularly in the area near Embry-Riddle in our city, and there's some real problems with it. Manager and I had a few words earlier. It clearly is a difficult issue, but I think I would like at some workshop in the future to take a look at whether we can make the codes easier for enforcement, or what we need to do to deal with the issue of people renting their homes in single-family areas and maybe having up to, it look like 8 or 9 different people living in one of them. And I know Councilman Chase has been working on it as well.
Drew? No, I don't really have anything. We kind of had a lengthy meeting. Just over the next 2 weeks or so, there's going to be a lot of motorcycles popping up in and around town, so everybody just kind of be aware and be safe out there. Very, very good point. Right. Easy, Robin. Scott?
I just want to make sure that council is aware of this. I think the city manager is going to have the fire chief give us a more detailed brief on this, but last Tuesday night we had a pretty major car crash in our city. One of the residents whose husband was involved, I spoke with at length, was very concerned. There was a very delayed response time by an ambulance, almost 44, 43 minutes for two patients that needed to be transported. And there were some things there happening outside of our control that we're looking into that definitely need to be addressed. And we've got to have measures in place to be able to better assure our residents that when they need transport services, it's going to be there and it's going to be there timely. So if the chief was here tonight, I would commend him for, from what I know so far, is during that call at some point, he actually interjected himself into that call to get transport. And that's great. But we need to look at the cause and effect of that whole ordeal. It's a good scenario for us to study, because fortunately in this particular case, both persons that were transported seem to be okay. I use that loosely, but we need to look at that one, and I'm looking forward to hearing what the chief's got to say with that. Secondly, we had a former employee, and I'm going to ask Bob to make a couple comments too about this lady who passed away. We didn't know that she had passed until a family member reached out regarding her retirement benefits, and that's kind of how we learned. So unfortunately, we learned kind of late, but I didn't want to be remiss in not mentioning Marge Kelly, who was a former employee of the city and was the administrative assistant to Chief Ford back in the day. And I'm going to let Bob make some comments, but I want to, Bob, I don't know if you ever knew this or not, but the rank and file had a nickname for Marge, and we used to call her the Little Chief. If she was wearing a fur coat and was dripping wet, she didn't weigh 100 pounds. And but she ran a tight ship on that side of the building, but one of the best hearts. I mean, you just couldn't ask for a better person, a more kind person. She lived in our city, was married to her husband, Walt. I mean, the two were like, you couldn't script a better couple. Yeah. And great service to the community, and sad to hear the news. But anyway.
Yeah, she was one of those people every once in a while, maybe once or twice in your life, you run into an extraordinary person. She just had natural charisma, and she also had this drive to do things right. And watching her tell a corporal, a sergeant, a lieutenant, a captain what the rules were, and describing in detail what she was going to do to them if they didn't follow the rules properly was always a pleasure. And how she got away with it, I'll never know, but everyone said, "Yes, ma'am," and proceeded. She was excellent. So
very good.
We'll all miss her.
Yep.
I just wanted to mention a couple things. One, what we experienced last year with Matthew with debris was incredible. And certainly this isn't that, but we certainly applied a lot of lessons from Matthew. And this is still a very, very large job. And I really, really appreciate the patience of our residents. We are at full steam now with trucks on the road all over the place. Finally starting to get the positive comments that we've wanted to hear in neighborhoods, and really, really appreciate it. And of course, when this is all done, we're going to
have another hurricane.
Take this and learn and do the next one even better. Certainly.
It would be nice that we lose the edge, because it takes 14 years to have another one, but we'll be ready.
I'd like 20.
Okay.
Yeah. It'd be great if another one never came for another dozen
better.
years.
The other thing I wanted to mention, and I appreciate Chase bringing it up, is what a terribly hard job it is to put on a uniform and get in a car and be a target just by going to work. And that's what we're seeing across our country right now. Police officers are people. They're human. They're not perfect. I do expect that they're going to try their very best. But simply by putting on a uniform and getting in the car and going to work to protect us, no matter what, we could be sleeping. The things that go on in this city while we're asleep, amazing. Certainly, something happened in my neighborhood this past weekend. And all I can say is, particularly, and I hate to think that it takes a Las Vegas to remind us. But if it doesn't remind us, we're wrong. We see our police officers out on the streets. Thank them. Please, let them know that they're appreciated, because they most certainly are. And with that, City Council Committee reports over to CTPO.
That one was me. We just had a meeting. The main topic were the projects that were funded, and our Walk Light project is funded. They reiterated again that the ranking system with the points, typically most of the matches are 10%, but if you offer up another 5 or 10% towards your project, the projects are scored higher and a higher priority because they have to fund less. They're looking at, we're considering, we're debating on how far to go, but there's been some talk that they want to increase the match for cities, from 10% to perhaps as much as 25%. And I know a lot of the smaller cities, that would hurt their ability to get projects. So they're trying to come up with something in between, but they're looking over the next, 3-4 years to maybe increase that percentage of the match to get funded. It might go up to just 15% or something, but it is going to increase in the next few years. And the other issue they talked, or that I wanted clarification on, we talked about it a little while back. I forgot to ask at that meeting, but Bob, did we name you as the alternate officially? And so if something happens, then you can, okay.
Yes.
So that's it. That's all I got. It was a briefer meeting and
So
short.
you got backup.
Yeah.
General Employees Pension.
End of the fiscal market value of the plan has broke the $32 million mark, which is good.
Yeah.
Just over 32. Quarterly return was about 2.53.
Not bad.
For a year of about 10.4%.
Good year.
Net?
So
Good year.
Wow.
Yeah, not too bad of a year.
Jammy.
Yeah, that's really good. 10-4 is good.
Nice and steady.
That's it.
Very good. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Okay. Anything to sign? We don't have anything to sign. Oh, good. Only one.